let's start with trust issues. And I thought we focus on past betrayals because often when we go into a relationship, we have all this baggage of the past betrayals that we carry with us. And it stems from maybe your parents, it stems maybe from friends, family, at school, wherever it comes from, that we carry it with us without even knowing, and we carrying it into our relationship. And these past betrayals don't don't help us in our relationship. Often we're not even aware that we have them, that we carry these trust issues. And what it leads to in the relationship by not having healed from these past betrayals, from these from these trust issues, is you might notice that in your relationship you have a lot of suspiciousness, that you don't trust your partner. Who are they texting? What are they texting? Who are they talking to? Who aren't they talking to? How do they talk to these people? And it causes a lot of emotional distress. And what I often see from my personal life, but also from my clients and people I talk to, is when they have these trust issues, they take so much personally. So everything surround is about you, how you feel, how you take it, how their behavior impact you. And what happens is there is a lot of shaming, a lot of blaming, that you do this to me, your behavior is causing me to feel like this. Your behavior is causing me to behave like this. And the connection between you taking it personally and the trust issue is that you haven't healed. And because you haven't healed from that, you believe that everything is onto something. Everyone is trying to get you in some way. And it's not even a conscious decision. It's usually something deep down in your subconsciousness that you believe, this is who I am. I'm not trusting people. It's hard for me to trust people. It's hard for me to open up. It's hard for me to put down the walls that I have built. And in fact, it's not hard. It's your protection. It's you trying to protect yourself from any further harm from anyone. When in fact, the only person who can actually harm you is you. But we don't want to see that, because that means that we would have to take responsibility for our behavior, and more so for the thoughts that we carry in our brain. And that's a tricky one, because it's so much easier to give it away, to say, you are the reason for this. Your behavior is doing this to me. I have no choice. When in fact, it's always your choice. You have the choice how to react, how to behave, what to do with how your partner or your loved ones or whoever actually, how you react to their behavior. It's all up to you, but it's easier to put it on them. So in your relationship, when you have these trust issues, got it, you might argue a lot. That's a good indicator of, oh, there might be something where I haven't healed from, what I'm still dealing with. You argue a lot, but not about the big things. It's more about the little things. And it's more about, again, you, how you feel their reaction makes you feel, how you feel their behavior is causing you to behave, is causing you to think, behave, and the results you get out of it. So there might be a lot of blaming and shaming yourself, but also your partner. And when I see that with my clients, it's often that they say, yeah, my partner did this. And then I ask them, so what did you do? And usually it's like something that you walk away, or that you don't talk to them anymore, or that you Hello, my dad just woke up and came in. um, so that you, oh, now I lost my thread. Let me read. So arguments where you don't feel heard. Yeah, again, let me connect this now. The arguments are about little things where you blame the other person, but it's actually you who doesn't feel heard. You don't understand me. They don't understand what I'm saying. They don't listen to me. This is a good indicator when you feel unheard, that there is some trust that is missing. And when you don't feel heard, you, of course, try to protect yourself. And you want the other person to listen to you, to understand you. We all have this need as humans to be part of something, to feel that this is where we belong, this is where we can be ourselves. And if we don't have that, then we're lacking trust that the other person will take us on as we are, as who we are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And when we miss that, then it causes arguments, and then we take it personally, and then it causes blaming and shaming. Why is he doing this to me? Why is she behaving like that? Another reason, or how it can play out in your relationship, is that you're not sharing your fears. So when you have these trust issues, and you might be aware of, oh, there is lacking trust somewhere for some reason, that you don't share it with your partner. And I'm not talking about you just say, oh, I don't trust you, but you go deeper and ask yourself, where is it coming from? What is the reason for me not trusting my partner? Did they do something? Or is it something that I brought into this relationship from previous relationships, from my childhood, from anything that happened before? Often we are not aware of that, or often we don't have the resources to go that deep and connect with what did happen, what made us build this wall to protect ourselves. And hence, that's why we can't share openly. But on the other hand, as aware as you are in that moment, we often feel like, if I say this, I open up, I make myself vulnerable, and then they get the power to hurt us. And don't know about you, I heard this quite often, that I don't want to be hurt. And we forget that as soon as we, in a relationship, any kind of relationship, we will get hurt. Hurt is part of a relationship because the other person, they don't know what triggers our pain. They don't know what we went through, even though we talked about it, even though we told them, I had this experience and this hurt me and I haven't healed from it. They don't know the exact words, the exact behavior, even a gesture or a look that can trigger us falling back into that hurt. So hurt is part of it. But that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It just means for you, when that trigger happens, when you feel like their behavior hurt me, it actually just makes you aware of, hey, you haven't healed from that. There is something that needs processing, healing. It doesn't mean that person is bad. It just means there is still something inside you that hasn't healed. So it's actually a good thing when you feel hurt, you know, ooh, there's still something that I can do to help myself. And so you don't share with your partner how you feel because you might not be aware of it. And that leads to a lack of emotional intimacy. And when I talk about emotional intimacy, what I mean is you feel free to talk about your fears, your ideas, your feelings, good, bad, ugly, anything, without fearing that you get judged. That's a deep emotional intimacy connection. And when you lack that, it leads again to arguments because you don't feel like you can share it. You don't have the trust in yourself and in your partner, so you don't do it. And when the lack of emotional intimacy is obvious, what you can do is written it down. First of all, when you know you're at that point, hey, I know I have these trust issues. Where do they come from? If the betrayal happened during your relationship, what I would like you to do is go back. I have a course about rebuilding trust after betrayal that helps you when it happened in your relationship with your partner, how you can deal with that betrayal and build trust again. If it happened before your relationship, so it's something that you carried into your relationship for a long time, as ever long it had happened before, is forgiveness. I know forgiveness is a big word. It's a buzzword. You need to forgive. It helps you heal. And the big question is, but how? How do I forgive? And I want to share with you something that I learned about 10 years ago. It was when I started my certification as an NLP practitioner. And you start with the 12 rules of NLP. And the first rule is people do the best they can with the resources they have at the time. What this means, and for me at the time, I came up with my parents, because often a lot of stuff that we carry into our relationship happens in our childhood, happens with our parents. And I thought, my parents, so whatever they did it the best they could with the resources they had, which means all the pain, all the trauma, all the unhealed pain that they carried with them, with all the knowledge they had about who they are, how much they healed, what to do. Those were the best resources they had at the time. And this means that their behavior might be, when you look at it objectively or even subjectively, like, but it hurt me. They didn't understand me. And that is right. But at the time, they did the best they could with all the knowledge they had, with all the emotional capability and capacity they had at the time. Maybe if you ask them today, they would tell you that they would do it differently, because their capacity, their emotional stability has changed. They learned so much about themselves, so they wouldn't go back and do the same thing again. But at the time, with everything that was going on in their lives, that was the best they could do. And even if the best was hurtful, painful, devastating for you, they did the best they could at the time. And what happened to me when I went through that in my brain, like, they did the best they could at the time with all the resources they had, is they were on this pedestal, like my parents. Oh my God, they are older, they are wiser, they know so much. They should understand, they should know how their behavior impacts me. What I did is I took them from that pedestal and placed them next to me. Like, oh my God, you're just humans. You go through the same shit as I go. You go through the same pain, triggers, etc. as I am. You're not better or worse than me. You're just humans. And realizing that whoever did whatever they did to you, it was the best they could with the resources they had at the time. And I was 11 when I got raped, and I thought, how do I use that sentence to forgive that person? And once I realized the concept and understood, it was like, this person at the time, he thought he did something that was good for him. He didn't think about me, my feelings, how that would impact my life for the next years, decades, till the end of my life. But at the time, they did the best they could with the resources they had. And I'm pretty sure now, 33 years later, they wouldn't do it as they did it. They probably wouldn't do it. Full stop, period. But at the time, with all the trauma, all the triggers, all the emotional baggage they carried, it seemed to them like a good idea. So that's what they did. And since I got that question, that sentence in my head, it, for me, it's easy. It helps me to understand that everyone is carrying something with them. Everyone is. My mom is now awake, so um, so since I realized that sentence and I processed it, it's so much easier to face people knowing that whatever's going on in their life, in their brains, it's the best they can do at the time with the resources they have. And that's my share with you about how to forgive. If you need help, let me know. I'm here for you. And that's my share for today.